From its humble beginning in 1973, State-of-AQD is now 40 years old, and I believe is going strong. Being the current head of office of the department, it is an honor and a privilege for me to report to you all AQD's contribution to the national development of our country and in the region. I have heard of people who know of State-of-AQD's achievements and accomplishments, saying that AQD is too humble, even timid, to proclaim to the world our accomplishments. Today, I will be bold in telling you what AQD has accomplished for the past 40 years. AQD made its first impact in the development of tiger prawn industry. This came after our scientists completed the life cycle of Pineus monodon in 1975 and developed the induced breeding and the hatchery production of fry in 1977. During those early years, AQD was home to various trainees from around the world who came to learn the mass production techniques of tiger shrimp in the hatchery. As an offshoot of this significant development, small scale, or what we call backyard shrimp hatcheries, mushroomed all over Iloilo, Panay, and the rest of the country. Subsequent developments in the culture technologies and shrimp nutrition that led to the development of artificial feeds ushered the rapid development of the shrimp industry. It was so lucrative that even the sugarcane growers converted their sugarcane lands into shrimp ponds. While the shrimp team was busy extending the shrimp culture technologies to the farmers, AQD's milkfish team were cracking their heads on how to make the sabalo spawn. AQD scientists and counterparts in Tungkang Marine Lab in Taiwan and the scientists in the Oceanic Institute in Hawaii worked together and separately, but in consultation with each other, on trials on induced spawning of milkfish, until one evening in 1980, the sabalo in cages decided to spawn spontaneously in our Igang Marine Station in Guimaras. It was a scientific breakthrough done by local scientists on a local species, but the scientific significance is global. The first attempt to induce spawning was actually done in 1976, and the rearing of larvae from induced spawns was underway in 1979. In 1984, AQD organized the first training course on milkfish hatchery production in support of the National Bangus Breeding Program. Perhaps we cannot say the rest is history. While in the past, farmers were totally dependent on wild milkfish fry, now what is stocked in fish ponds are fry mostly coming from the hatcheries. While refinements were being made on the seed production and culture technologies, AQD's nutrition and feed development team studied the nutritional requirements of milkfish. The findings served as basis for the formulation of feeds that are now commercially available. With the abundance of fry and feeds, farmers now grow milkfish not only in brackish water ponds, but also in pens and freshwater bodies, and now in cages in open waters. AQD is also largely responsible for the development of aquaculture technologies and hence the promotion of aquaculture of other commercially important species. Induced spawning of rabbitfish was achieved in 1983, and year-round spawning and mass production followed in 1985. Successful induced spawning of sea bass was achieved also in 1983. From then on, sea bass became a mainstay of the training course on marine fish hatchery operations and management. Year-round spawning and larval rearing of groupers were achieved in 1990, the red snapper in 1992, the abalone in 1994, and the completion of mud crab life cycle in 1997. For nearly 2 decades now, we have been conducting training courses for the fry production and culture of abalone, and recently on mud crab. I can say that mud crab is our hottest commodity this year. With the demand for training on the different phases of mud crab culture, as well as requests for technical assistance from the private sector at an all-time high, making our mud crab team very busy. For freshwater aquaculture, AQD has contributed significantly to the full development of culture technologies for the tilapias, catfishes including our native catfish, carps, and the freshwater prawn. AQD's contribution to the species are on breeding technologies, fry production, nursery and grow-out techniques, and support technologies on health management and feed development. For other species, AQD's mark is also very much visible in the development of mussels and the oysters industries, and of course the catfish shell in Panay Island. For these technologies, however, to make an impact to national development, they have to reach the end users, the farmers. Even with our meager resources, both in terms of manpower and finances, AQD has implemented and will continue to mount an aggressive technology, information, dissemination, and extension activities. New scientific findings from our scientists are first published in international peer-reviewed journals so that results can be verified by the experts. To this day, AQD has published 1,414 papers, various papers in international scientific journals. Technical information from these scientific publications are then distilled into a laymanized, easy to understand extension manuals for the farmers. We have so far produced 54 aquaculture extension manuals for the farmers and the general public. We do believe that the best way to transfer to the end users the technologies we develop here is through actual hands-on training courses. We now have, as of today, 7,933 training alumni from 64 countries who attended the 413 training courses we have organized today. This includes staff from our government agencies, universities, especially those offering fisheries and aquaculture courses, private individuals, and farmers. Of these trainees, 42% are from the Philippines, and the rest are from the CIFDIC member countries and other countries as well. The United Nations listed 192 member states. We have trainees in roughly 30% of the UN member states. This clearly indicates that CIFDIC-AQD's contribution to global aquaculture. We also train future scientists, aquaculturists, and fish farmers. In our on-the-job training program and internships, we have so far trained 2,219 students from 78 universities and colleges and 12 high schools in the country. AQD cannot do the transfer technology to the end users alone. We need to work together with the other agencies in the country and in the region to facilitate and accelerate the technology transfer process. DA BIFAR is all over the country, and their extension workers can do this with us. Several years back, BIFAR, together with AQD and other government agencies, had this techno caravan where technology generators with BIFAR conducted lectures on sites in various places in the country. AQD, together with BIFAR, also implemented the joint mission for the accelerated transfer of technologies to the countryside. The possibility of doing similar activities is being discussed, considering that the benefits that it will bring to the industry is great. Mentioned when I assumed office last year, the lack of funds has always been the perennial problem of the department. AQD's, now being 40 years old, AQD's aging infrastructures need to be repaired or replaced and modernized to match our status as an international research organization. The lack of funds that go also into our research and development program is another big problem of the department. We always want to do more, given the numerous problems that we need to find solutions to for the industry to grow further. And to be able to do this, aggressive fund sourcing from funding and donor agencies is being done. This means that our researchers, scientists have to work doubly hard to write winning research proposals in order to get the necessary funds to do more research activities. Currently, we are implementing a lot of these programs. Regional programs funded by the Government of Japan Trust Fund. We also have ongoing projects with JIRCAS, or the Japan International Research Center for Agricultural Sciences, the Research Institute of Humanity and Nature of Japan, and Japan's Ministry of Education, or the Australian Center for International Agricultural Research, that is funding us for 3 projects on seaweeds, sandfish, and groupers. 2 projects funded by USAID and the USB, United Soybean Board, ended last year. But later this year, we will be having a new project funded by the United States Department of Agriculture. And this will be on capacity building for farmers in Mindanao to improve their productivity. Starting last year also, our friends from DOST Picard tapped the expertise of AQD scientists in implementing various national science and technology programs on priority aquatic species. And this is together in collaboration with our friends from UPV. Starting last year and in the next 3 years, AQD will receive roughly 200 million pesos to implement projects on shrimps, milkfish, mud crab, blue swimming crab, and possibly abalone, and mussels and oysters. To our friends from Picard DOST, as what we have told you last year, the funds that you have entrusted to us and will entrust in the future will be money well spent. We will see to it that the intended outcomes of the project will be realized and the impact felt by our people. At present, AQD's technical division remains strong. We have with us 23 PhDs and 21 Master of Science degree holders. This looks very good, but considering that many of the AQD originals will retire very soon, we have to have an aggressive staff development program. For AQD to remain vibrant and dynamic, it has to have the dedicated and hard-working scientists that made this institution succeed and famous. Towards this, we have recruited and will continue to recruit most promising young staff. The future scientists of AQD will come from the present crop of young technical assistants that we have today, and most of them are already in graduate school. The salaries that we give to our scientists are no longer attractive. So for this, we need to appeal again to our national government to increase our national budget so we can increase the salaries of our scientists and all our employees. AQD, without its dedicated scientists and staff, can do nothing and will not be able to live to its mandate to contribute significantly to national and regional development. So what are the challenges that we need to face from now on? With its pool of scientists and highly able support staff, AQD has already shown its significant contribution to the development of aquaculture as an important driver for increasing food production, source of livelihood, and income, especially for people in the rural areas. Food security and improving the economic prosperity of people are among the top priorities of our present government. And I guess this is also true among our CIFDEC member countries. Considering the push to increase fish production, to feed the increasing number of people in the region, intensification of aquaculture operation is inevitable. The challenge for us now, and for AQD in particular, is how to make this intensification of aquaculture sustainable and without harmful effects to the environment. Specific questions that I think we need to find answers in relation to this general challenge, among others, are how to bring down the cost of production of commercially important species, finding appropriate alternatives to fish meal and fish feeds to bring down the cost without affecting the performance of the stocks, ensuring feed quality, proactive and appropriate health management protocols, especially for the emerging disease problems affecting the aquaculture industry, and how to maintain overall health of the aquatic environment where aquaculture activities are being conducted, and how to ensure that aquaculture will continue given the changing world climate. These concerns are all addressed in the 5 thematic areas that describe the program thrust of the department as approved during the ASEAN CIFDEC conference in 2011. And this includes quality seed for sustainable aquaculture. In here, we consider all approaches to produce good quality fry. There is healthy and wholesome aquaculture that includes aspects of animal aquatic health and aquatic nutrition, maintaining environmental integrity through responsible aquaculture. In here, we consider the possible impacts of aquaculture to the environment and ways to mitigate this impact. To this effect, AQD has been espousing the environment-friendly way of aquaculture, and we have been pushing for the implementation of the Code of Conduct for Responsible Fisheries and Responsible Aquaculture in the region. And then we have the meeting and the social and economic challenges in aquaculture, where we consider the social and economic impacts of aquaculture, and adapting to climate change, where we explore alternatives to prepare the aquaculture sector for the possible impact of the changing world climate. The scientific information that will be generated from these future activities will be very critical in this regard. We will continue to implement aggressive but strategic fund sourcing activities to augment our funds to implement various programs in the department. We will also continue the activities that will accelerate dissemination of viable aquaculture technologies. And for this, we will continue to work closely with concerned agencies of CIFDEC member countries and in the country with our DAB-FAR, DAE-BAR, DOST, LGUs, NGOs, state universities and colleges, and people's organizations. We will forge new collaborations and strengthen our existing collaborations with all our partners in the country and in the Southeast Asian region, including other CIFDEC departments, especially with the establishment of a new department in Indonesia, which is on inland fisheries. To put it simply, AQD will continue to pursue its mandate, that is to promote and undertake research on aquaculture relevant and appropriate to the region, develop human resources capability in aquaculture through training and extension, and disseminate and exchange this information to all our stakeholders. With the support that we will get from our national government, the CIFDEC organization as a whole, our various partners and collaborators, and of course, this whole CIFDEC-AQD family, I am confident that AQD will continue to fulfill its role of being a significant source and provider of scientific information for further development of aquaculture in the region. So with that, I thank you all for coming. Mabuhay ang CIFDEC-AQD, and happy Ruby anniversary to all.